It is Friday, June 1st. Let's talk PlayStation. Alright, you'll have to excuse that it looks a little bit different. I have to film this a little earlier in the day, so that's why there's natural light coming in, because I have a window right there, but just letting you guys know that right away. Anyway, we're going into our first news story, Sony's E3. Of course, we got to keep in mind, E3 is coming up very, very soon. A lot of interesting things are getting announced before E3 even starts, like Fallout 76, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. You guys all know that I was looking forward to that one, but Sony is doing the E3 theater experience once again. They've done this for 3-4 years in a row now. They're doing it again, so you can actually go to a local theater and see the Sony press conference, which is pretty cool. Of course, I will mention, if you are interested in going, the tickets are free, of course, but the tickets go quite fast, so you have to reserve yours pretty much right away. You can visit the PlayStation blog and see what theaters are going to be showing their E3, and of course, when the tickets will be available. You'll get a poster and a few free goodies, as Sony often does when they do the E3 theater experience. Sony is also running their Days of Play promotion once again this year. It is back, and of course, it's a number of things, sales on video games, sales on hardware. The interesting one for this year is a very limited edition PlayStation 4 Slim. This console looks great. I am in love with this thing. A few people think it looks a little polarizing, but I think this thing looks gorgeous. It's a pure blue PlayStation 4, very dark blue, but it's got the gold PlayStation buttons accented on it, and of course you also get a blue DualShock 4 with the touchpad also having gold PlayStation button accents on it. I think this thing looks awesome. I've seen a lot of people also get pretty upset that this isn't a PS4 Pro, but this thing's going to be available June 8th for $300. My God, I mean, honestly, if I was not like in the middle of buying a car right now, I would honestly go out and get this thing, which I definitely don't even need because I'm already at 4 PlayStation 4s now, and they all work just fine, but it's just like, I already have 4. And I wanted that Uncharted 4 PS4. I thought that one looked gorgeous. And then, of course, I wanted the 20th Anniversary Edition PlayStation 4. I couldn't get that one as well. I got screwed on that one, but yeah, the Days of Play is always great because there's a lot of great sales going on, so actually keep that in mind too. Also, PlayStation VR down to, I believe, 200. A couple of good retailer bundles floating around, so definitely keep your eyes peeled if you're looking for some PlayStation stuff. So file this one under, oh my God, what could this possibly be? But we're just freaking out because, of course, it's interesting information. Quentin Cobb, he was a designer at Naughty Dog. He left a while ago. He's actually back at Sony. He just recently tweeted that he's a senior game designer for Sony, and he's working on a new project. And when people, quizzed him about what he's possibly working on, he said it was a secret. So, hey, look at that. Sony has secrets, as they often do. It's just a matter of it's the vagueness of it, I guess, which is most intriguing, because of course it's like, okay, where is he at within the Sony landscape? Okay, possibly Naughty Dog, right? But if it's Naughty Dog, we know what Naughty Dog's working on, so that must mean, oh, okay, Last of Us 2, they must have something maybe in the early stages of possibly starting up. Now, they're probably much further along with Last of Us Part 2, I mean, because that's the thing, right? When we've been doing a lot of LTPSs and covering press events, I'm always saying, like, guys, cool with the Last of Us Part 2 stuff, the game's still far out. But now we're getting to a negligible point where it's like, all right, they've had time to work on the game. They're probably getting closer to understanding, where it could possibly, that they, of course, have a release window in mind, right? Who knows if they're going to meet it. But they have an idea of where they want to get the game released. Of course, we're going to see it in greater detail at this year's E3. So I'm sure they have a much larger vertical slice of the game to show the public and detail a little bit about what they're maybe trying to accomplish with the game, or different gameplay mechanics. Who knows what we're going to get to see of the game, but you got to figure it's probably going to be a much more substantial piece than what we've seen before, because Naughty Dog's further along with the game. So maybe they could have another project starting up somewhat soon. Maybe it's in the early stages. I mean, this guy does have a long history in the games industry, and for him to be back at Sony and have a high position within the company tells you that he's definitely working on something that in the very early stages, and it's just it's exciting, as it always is. Now, for our founder news story, yes, unfortunately, there's not much going on as we go into E3, because E3 is always a crazy, like the first 2 weeks of E3 are always crazy, right? Because you get the leaks, you get the announcements before more announcements, and then you get nothing, because the companies actually can hold their news before the leaks actually happen. So it's a 50-50 thing. You get these announcements, sometimes you do. I know the polarizing one for a lot of people is Fallout 76, because a lot of people are like, whoa, why wouldn't you announce it at E3? Which, by the way, I think there's a number of reasons for that. I think they wanted to do it on their terms, right? So they didn't want the game to be leaked. So they announced it, on their terms, which is great for Bethesda. Also, they didn't show much of the the teaser was hardly anything, right? Of course, it's something Fallout. It's a Fallout game in some way, shape, or form, but they want people to see a little bit of it right now, and then now everyone knows, oh great, and then we'll get to see more of it in a week and a half, 2 weeks at E3, and that's going to draw more eyes to Bethesda's show. That's more than likely what they probably were aiming for there. But mind you, that's totally neither here nor there. We're going to cover one story that Polygon recently posted about what they think everybody's going to be doing for E3 recently. And for the Sony section, they actually said they've heard a number of rumors regarding Bloodborne 2 and Horizon Zero Dawn 2 being announced at E3. Now, I want to talk about these two games specifically because, well, let's really break this down. Sony has already admitted publicly that they're going to be showing 4 games at E3. That we already know about, right? That's Spider-Man, that's Last of Us Part 2, that's Death Stranding, and that's oh my god, what's the 4th game? Days Gone. They admitted that those 4 games specifically are what they're going to cover, interspersed with some third-party stuff. So that lends me to believe that we might not even see Ghost of Tsushima, or maybe we might not even see Dreams. I mean, I'm sure maybe we might get a trailer or something, but they were very clear in saying, like, okay, these 4 first-party studios, these are the games that you're going to see, and then you'll still get some third-party stuff thrown in between. And I have no reason to not believe them in that regard because, well, we do know what all of Sony's first-party studios are doing, and I would have to imagine Guerrilla has definitely nothing even remotely close to show to the public. They would have to build some sort of really crude teaser if they were going to announce something this year. And in terms of Bloodborne 2, that's an entirely separate beast because we know From Software recently announced Shadows Die Twice. And we're still wondering what the hell that is exactly, right? Shadow Dies Twice, could this be something more in the direction of Bloodborne? There's actually recent rumors just came out about Shadows Die Twice in regards to how it's kind of designed, and it is a little bit Bloodborne inspired, but it's also has different gameplay elements drawn from previous From Software titles, and there's nothing at all indicating that it's a Sony published game or anything, and we all know Bloodborne is a Sony published game, so realistically, Sony could do a Bloodborne 2 because they own the rights to it. They would just have to farm it out to another developer, which I don't think would really be a good idea on Sony's part because it should be handled by From Software because they're the ones that make the games. They're the ones that made the game so great to begin with. So I would not at all expect a Bloodborne 2 announcement because that just seems like it's not on the cards at all. Same with Horizon Zero Dawn 2. They've probably got nothing to show. So if anything, to cover these rumors, I would say definitely go into this expecting not much of anything and exactly what Sony has told us. On the flip side, on the caveat to this, I will say, of course, Sony would lie about this if they did have a big announcement to do, because why would they want to upset people? Like, why would they want to? You know what I mean? Like, of course they're gonna not tell you that something big's coming. They don't want things to leak. They want to announce things. They want things to be exciting. They want to drop bombs, and they have a history of doing so. Sony already knows they have a lot of eyes on them. They're the market leader currently. A lot of people have PlayStation 4s. They know people are looking forward to their conferences. I think that's why they purposely went out of their way to warn people that this year's E3 is going to focus on 4 games specifically. They don't want to piss people off because they know that's a very real thing. They don't want to say, hey, E3 is going to be totally awesome, and then people watch it and go, what the hell? I mean, yeah, the trailers were cool, but as always, people expect announcements that they've never seen before. They expect games they've never seen before. They expect sequels. They expect new IP. They expect some new deal, some exclusivity. People expect those kinds of things, and Sony knows they got a lot of people watching them. And if they did have those things prepared, they would want to, surprise people, and they maybe even wouldn't go out of their way to say, hey, E3 is going to be awesome. Maybe they would purposely not say it, and then release, do their conference, everybody freaks out, has a good time, and then that's the history of E3. But if you want my opinion, if we're talking about E3 predictions right now, I mean, I'm not even gonna be that kind of guy that does an E3 predictions video, because honestly, I think what Sony said, I think is what they're gonna do. I think we're gonna see some great footage of their games. We're gonna see a lot more of what Death Stranding's about. We're gonna see probably some major, I'm assuming, gameplay of Last of Us Part 2. Days Gone, you know, I mean, we've already seen a good portion of it already. I think we're just going to see more reasons as to why that's maybe a game that you need to keep a lookout for. Same with Spider-Man. You know, we have seen a good portion of it, but to see even a greater amount of detail about it is certainly a welcome thing for people that are maybe on the fence or want to see more about Spider-Man and want to see more of a reason why they should get that game. Same with third-party stuff. I mean, Sony's doing great with third parties recently. They've done, admittedly, fantastic with third-party with PlayStation 4. It was a nightmare with PlayStation 3 from almost beginning to end, but for PlayStation 4, it's been a much different story, so I'm sure Sony has a lot of great things to announce there as well. Keep in mind the third-party stuff, I mean, it's third-party. It's going to be available everywhere, which is why I always mention, which is what I've always criticized with a lot of Microsoft shows, is that, you know, Microsoft show us some first-party stuff. The more third-party you show as a person that's in second place compared to Sony, you're just showing PlayStation buyers what they can, you know, what they can get on PS4. You know what I mean? Stop doing all the third-party stuff. And at Sony's show, I know people get annoyed because it's like, oh no, show us all the cool, you know, Sony first-party games. It's just, you know how E3 is. It's always a bit of a pain in the ass for multiple different angles, but if you always set your expectations properly, you can come out of it having a good time. Those are just some of the news stories that I want to talk about with you guys from this past week. I'm sorry I didn't release a video. Admittedly, I forgot. I have videos done, I just didn't upload anything. So, expect one next week. Excuse me. I'll be picking up my car this Wednesday, which is great. So I'm just going to be a little busy. I kind of have to go out of town to go pick it up. But I'm going to keep working on the videos as always and having a good time. I'm so glad that a lot of people saw last week's Let's Talk PlayStation. That's awesome. If you're new to this channel, hi, how you doing? I'm Ryan. We always talk about PlayStation at the end of every week, and we cover all the latest PlayStation news stories, and I give you some of my opinions and whatnot, and what's going on in the video game industry, as I've been covering it for a very long time now. That's pretty much it. So kind of an informal hi. And I'll see you next week. So that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Becky. Thank you all so much for talking with me, and I'll see you guys next Friday.